We're here at the EA Business Suite in Gamescom, and we're joined by the boys from Crytek. Guys, I gotta ask you, like you said just before we started the interview, you've got the Red Bull pumping through the veins. Are you feeling okay?
I'm feeling okay. I'm feeling quite pumped actually, but that's more about the 100 than anything else.
Well, yeah, I would have to agree with that. I mean, it's exciting. It's actually really exciting to always do these European coins because it's as I said at the press conference, it's like having all the gamers from all around the world right next to where you're working, which is a different thing than going all across the Atlantic, right? So
a half-hour car journey is a lot better than a 15-hour long-haul flight, I'm guessing.
In most cases, yeah.
Okay, well, just sort of, we're going to be talking to you guys later on actually about Crysis, but we'll just sort of begin by sort of touching upon what you've shown us here today with the Hunter mode and everything like that. How do you guys feel the reception has been? Well, it's too early to talk about feedback.
No, I think actually, the Hunter mode in Crysis 3 is quite a bet. We are innovating something really cool here. We are building an asynchronous mode here that is asymmetric mode, that is quite an innovative take on the competitive multiplayer space. And we want to bet on a more single-player-esque multiplayer experience that single-player fans would feel at home quickly. And the message was about like giving you the Hunter experience, like that you have in this theme of single-player. All of that betting seems to work out quite well. The feedback was been really phenomenal, much better than we hoped for. So we are really pumped about it, and it's not Red Bull, as I said.
And as we saw in the presentation there, though, the Hunters are always going to win, surely.
No. Actually, it's funny because during all our kind of preparation for this, it was kind of like 50-50 split. And of course, it's a very tight fight also. It's a minute and a half, so a really short battle. But it was also not with a full roster, right? So no, there's no guarantee for that. But as we've kind of been talking about, it's one of these game modes where almost regardless of the outcome, you feel some amount of success, even if you're not necessarily on the winning team, because you go through so many different, like first of all the asymmetry. If you don't win when you start out as 2, that's fair game, because you're 2 versus 14 or 2 versus 10. On the other hand, if you don't win as a cell trooper and you switch, well then maybe you win there. And if you don't win any of those, well then at least you played all aspects of that mode, which gives you a lot of fun time, right? Game time. So I mean, it's cool, and there is definitely no guarantee. If you have really good players on the Cell Trooper side, there is no guarantee that the Hunters will win.
Now, it's all about Crysis 3, but Crysis 3 isn't the only thing you guys have got in the pot at the moment. Can we sort of talk about the other projects, what you guys have got on at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, we have Warface on the Gamescom. We're showing PvE and PvP experience. Warface is our next generation free-to-play title. It's a full AAA game. It's a full Crytek quality. Now we want millions of people play a free game to enter with, and we are very excited about this because it has been received phenomenally in Russia already. This was our first territory we launched. It was like very successful. We're going to launch it in China and Korea very soon, but also globally this year. And I think, I mean, indications of success are really strong, and yeah, I mean, we can't wait to roll out in Germany. We have already close to 500,000 registrations in closed beta for the European US launch. And yeah, go and save your gamer tag because it's unique. Yeah.
What do you guys feel about the free-to-play model? Is this just the way it needs to be in this market?
I really think that free-to-play is the only way in the future to sustain business and have a connection to a customer. In order to connect with them and truly understand what the mass wants, you have to have a mass that is unbiased by by spending money on the game. So it's like, you have to be able to criticize or like get feedback from people who actually would play even your game for free. That is the most deep level of user feedback you can get, I think. So if you know like what 95% of those players who don't pay for your game want, I think you do a better job with only 5% that may pay for your game. So that's my thought at least. And I think free-to-play is the most fair model, user-friendly, because you don't pay if you don't like it, and if you, not like it, if you don't want to pay for it, you just keep, you like the game and you keep playing it for free, right? And it gives accessibility with your friends. You can play with your friends and just test it out. You don't have to spend $250 with 5 people. You can just play for free. And I think free-to-play is the future. Free-to-play should be on consoles as well. And it's, I think, rising slowly on consoles. And I think it's going to definitely be the future of gaming. and it's going to stay, and it's going to exchange packaged goods businesses.
Let's sort of talk to you guys briefly about this. The fact is, with free-to-play model games, you have to make it accessible to pretty much everybody, whatever standard of PC they may have. Now, your games have always been the graphical benchmark for anybody with a proper core PC kit. So how do you guys feel going from the Crysis 3, which is possibly the most beautiful thing we've seen on the hardware, to like a free-to-play model where it's like, okay, we almost have to tune this down just to make it?
I don't think this is mutually exclusive at all. Honestly, I mean, I know at first glance looks like it, but if I look at Crysis 1 numbers, the Crysis 1 of the most ambitious hardware, like sweating game, right? And the joke arises like, can it run Crysis, right? But this fact of can it run Crysis and the fact that Crysis was so high-end made the game immensely popular as well. You know, and we have numbers like that show between a ratio of buying and players, I would say this way, like people who just played it and people who bought it actually, are like 1 to 12, you know, something between 1 to 10, 1 to 12. That implies there must be about close to 30 to 50 million players of Crysis out there that we have no idea that they're playing Crysis. So these are effectively our free-to-play market, you know, and they were able to play Crysis, right? So obviously there is a market for high-end gaming as well in the free-to-play space, and because if I look at the numbers of GPUs that are being sold, gamer PCs that are being sold, if I look at the amount of CPUs, they're in gamer PCs primary, you know, and the number one upgrade genre for gamers is the first-person shooter genre. So definitely in the US and Europe, more than any other place in the world, there is a market for free-to-play high-quality and high-end games. In Asia and in China and in Russia and some of the developing countries, it might be a different story, but the US and Europe definitely is a big market. I'm convinced about it. There is a high-end market for free-to-play.
How do you feel about that with Crysis 3, perhaps the making it the best looking game out there versus the getting it out to as many people as possible that may not actually have like a PC able to run it at that high fidelity?
Yeah, I mean, well, I don't know if you want to answer that, but I mean, it's important that the PC drives, and that it's kind of in Crytek's DNA to always want to push the benchmark of visuals, and that is, to Cevat's point also about free to play, that's not going to go away just because you change business models or whatever. It's still in the DNA, and so. I mean, the trick is to make sure you exploit as much as possible the current gen, but at the same time that you also push and hint at what's coming next all the time, and that's certainly the intention. And you know, there's was mentioned earlier also a tech demo out now, which is basically taken directly from you know, Crysis 3. So, and it looks absolutely amazing, and I think you can say without a shadow of a doubt that it's the most impressive visuals that the Crysis franchise has ever kind of put forward. So, I mean, it's possible to do it. Of course, the more distance you generate between platforms visually, the more complicated it also is, because there's so many balls you need to juggle at the same time, and you can't just ignore something that doesn't work on another platform. You need to find alternative ways to convey the same principle visually, even if you can't do it technically the same way. But, you know, I mean, I guess that's also in the Crytek DNA to do it, because it's difficult.
Our goal is really, in Crysis 3, to resurrect the joke, can it run Crysis? We want the PCs to sweat. We want this to be a game that actually survives the next 2 years after launch, on the PC platform that is. So it's going to scale forward, you know, not just backward. It's going to scale forward, and it's going to make the PC industry push forward. And free-to-play will base on that as well. You know.
We're just sort of wrapping up that final question. What is the challenges for Crytek next? Once you get Crysis 3 out the door, how are you looking to adapt to what the future holds?
I mean, essentially, it's really about transforming into a free-to-play company. I mean, we are not done with Crysis 3 yet. We are working on Crysis 3. We have Homefront 2 in development. We have Rise in development. These package shoot games are our AAA productions, our blockbuster productions. We're going to deliver as good as we can. I have no doubt about that. And then the company will be 100% focusing on free-to-play. No, and free-to-play, again, it doesn't mean like there might be no free-to-play Rise, there might be no free-to-play Crysis, all this is possibility. I'm not ruling that out by any means. I'm just saying, and I'm not ruling out console free-to-play either. I'm just saying we want to be free-to-play everywhere, and we will make it with our partners going forward as well.
Any final thoughts yourself?
No, not unless you have a specific question. I mean, other than you know, we're really excited about the reactions that we got to the Hunter mode here, and it's one of the only multiplayer modes where I'm also personally competitive. So that's great, you know. So. No.
So if you play Hunter, we're screwed.
No, I'm not necessarily. I'm not screwed, is what I'm saying.
Listen, guys, it's always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much indeed for joining.
Cheers. Thanks, man. Thank you.
1, we've gained a 60-minute window on the primary target. You have multiple cell units moving on your position. Do not jeopardize the goddamn mission now.